let me see, Northern Line, Metropolitan. Oh Lord, what else? Northern Line, Central Line can be a right nightmare as well. Oh God, please. And if, like I said, if it ain't one, it's another. And sometimes they're all up the Swanee, and you just think, please, I can't take it with this. That's why I like to just stay in my house and just do what I'm doing, because who do they think is going to want to take 4 hours to get to work? Please, hello. I can't do it no more. It's ridiculous. And okay, I have to say this, Kamo, on a serious note, right? Because of everything that's happening, and I've said this, obviously it is evident in the title. Why is the UK economy, so slow? People, the government are going to keep saying, oh yeah, jobs are becoming more readily available. It's all a load of crap. I'm just going to say it, okay? Because for those of us who have struggled to find a job, it's not happening, okay? And basically, but in all seriousness, note, when you are struggling to keep a roof over your head, there's more chances of you becoming homeless, right? And because of the way things have been going, especially in the last few years, link 14, Keros, number of UK rough sleepers has doubled in 6 years. Now that's disgusting, because before we knew it was high, okay, and for it to be doubling and going up, and those are the ones that they're counting as rough sleepers. So think about the people that are, sofa surfing, or like trying to sleep, or in a hostel or somewhere like that. I've been in a hostel. I was homeless. I know what it's like. It's not fun. And it's hard to get in. If it was hard to get into hostels back when I was trying to get into one, I dread to think what it's like now.
Well, what is a rough sleeper a homeless person?
Yes.
In our terms?
On the street. Yeah, that sleeps out in the street. They sleep in the street. They sleep in doorways. They sleep under the bridge. That's a rough sleeper who's literally sleeping on the street.
Okay.
That's another terminology for when you're homeless on the street, kind of thing. But like I said, that's what they say in the article, rough sleepers doubles. But I realize it's not, forget, you can't just talk about the actual rough sleepers. You've got to think about the hidden homeless, as they call them, as well. Like I said, sofa surfing, you're living in a hostel, you're living on you're moving from place to place. That you can't keep doing that, because people are going to get annoyed. Eventually they're going to want you out, because they just haven't got the space for you. There's only so long you can try and sleep on your friend's sofa or be around your aunties or something like that, because they haven't got the space for you, innit?
Right.
Especially when the older you get and you're becoming homeless. That's not fun. That's one of the reasons why I am so passionate about campaigning for a universal basic income. But not only that, I'm also campaigning for a living wage, and for people, for companies to raise the wage. And like I said, see now, the compromise, I shouldn't be making a compromise with you lot, because you're taking liberties, you companies out there. But okay, I'm prepared to come to the table with the offer that I mentioned earlier, which was, you pay us by the hour. And you give us sick pay. You don't have to give us the holiday pay yet. You don't have to do our taxes. We'll do that ourselves, because you lot are so lazy. But it's fine. We'll do that ourselves. But we have to have a base to work from. We have to be paid by the hour, because it's only fair. Because people are putting in, like I said, 60, 70 plus hours a week, because they're trying to make up money, and they're still not making enough to live on. And I know you guys out there are listening to this, and I know you guys out there are saying, oh my God, it's true. Because like I said, if you're not going through it, you know someone who is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm beseeching you out there, sign the petition. I want to do another one, actually. I need to do another petition on that website, because that's the one that's, if I can get it to over 100,000, then it will get considered for debate in the House of Commons, and that's where we need it to be. They can't ignore us anymore. Let your fingers do the walking, people. Get onto that site and sign the petition. Okay, we're asking for universal basic income, but we're also asking for raising the wages, make it a living wage, because people are struggling. And if you've been watching the news anywhere around the world, especially if you watch, the UK news, but you're around the world, you might be an expat or something like that, please, a UK expat or whatever, just spread the word. If you see that I've posted that at Ask Avani Show on Twitter, please spread the word, because, wow. It's no joke. I mean, we know that technology is good, isn't it? We know that it can do so much for us. I mean, obviously, by the power of technology, invested right now, we are talking. And people, I know, for the new listeners, they don't realise that, yes, I am in the UK. That's why I'm called the UK Soul Queen Diva, okay? K-Rose is in Dallas, Texas, USA. It really is true testament earlier in it, the proof
Yeah.
that we ain't missing. They don't believe us, but it's obviously the regular listeners know, kind of thing. So I've got to do this, Kairos, link 16, because I don't want to scare anybody, right? But it's been predicted that another major bank will fail, right? And even the media, as we know, they're finally cottoning on. They're starting to talk about the possibility of robots taking over human jobs. And so I really think the need to think about implementing the basic income for society it's here already. It's not even in the pipeline no more. They're just going to have to start factoring it in going forward, because if they don't, it's going to be more people struggling, more people suffering, more people becoming homeless, God forbid. But you know what happens when people become homeless? The government has to pay for it, because they're going to end up, especially if you've got children, they can't leave you on the street, can they? So they're going to end up having to pay for you to go into a hostel, but those are quite expensive. Obviously, if you do that for a couple of days, that's one thing, but you don't want to be doing that for months and years on end because there's not enough housing and there's not enough jobs. You're going to have to find a solution, innit?
Well, but they should be, if they did what you're talking about and what you are encouraging, if they were giving you more outlets to work, whether you're working at home or whether they are bringing some of those jobs back into the country of origin for the business, you should be able to find better employment at a better wage if they would do some of the things that you're recommending.
I know, but they don't want to hear that, because as far as they're concerned, it's too much hassle, it's too much work, and we can't really implement this and we don't want to implement that. But people, think on, because like I said earlier, right, when they want to go to their war, okay, all of a sudden they found the 20 billion and they're off to war.
Right.
You're like, hold on, but wait, we've been telling you we need you to help sort out the when there was all the floods. People were saying they got to spend more money on the flood defences. Do they want to do that? Hell no. When you're supposed to build new houses, you always, like I said, pleading poverty. Oh no, it's going to take a while before we can get up to the housing stock that we need, blah, 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 blah. Please, whatever. When we tell you that you need to start implementing a universal basic income, please, you definitely don't want to hear that. Okay, people are going homeless. Kids are not eating properly because their parents can't afford to feed them. They're going to school hungry. That's even if they can even go to school, because their parents are just struggling. And the thing I noticed as well, I must say this, I'm not a parent, right, but I have noticed this, another thing, that there is another money-making scheme. They will charge parents if their children's attendance goes under a certain amount. I think it's 90-something% or whatever it is. They start charging. There's a guy who went to jail for that. I could go into it, but those of us here in the UK especially will know. He got taken to court because he wanted to take his daughter on holiday into term time, and they started giving him grief, and they fined him for taking her out of school. Whereas before it used to be the headmistress or headmasters at discretion to be able to say, yes, you can take the child depending on what it is, whatever. I mean, if your child has got good attendance anyway and they're okay with they're up to date more or less with their schoolwork, what's the problem? But no, the bureaucrats and the powers that be have started with all this faffing about. So that means now they can charge parents if the child gets taken out of school during term time. They want to fine you for that. If the child doesn't go to school, they want to fine you for that. I'm just like, okay, please, people, let me know if there's anything else I've missed out, because like I said, I'm not a parent. I don't know what else they're charging you for if they deem it necessary. Because apparently I saw as well that they want to start charging parents to buy the books. And I'm not talking about private schools, K-Rose. I'm talking about the state schools. They want to say to the parents, because they're getting cut, the funding is getting cut so much. I wasn't even going to go into this, but I've just gone off on one, so just bear with me, please. They said they want to start charging them at least 600 quid to send their child into school with, so that they can buy the books and all this. I'm like, do you know what?
A public school?
Yeah, it's a state school, but because the government has cut the benefits, the funding so much, they are starting to think about considering asking the parents to contribute. Now, which parent, especially when you're a poorer parent, is going to be able to afford that? They're struggling enough as it is, especially if your child has to wear a uniform. They're struggling enough as it is. Because you know what? Back in the day, and I can tell you this for a fact, when I went to my secondary school, you had to go to a specific outfitter. You couldn't just go in, like say your uniform is black and grey. You couldn't just go and buy a black skirt and a plain grey top. What kind of foolishness? No, you have to go to a specific shop with the label, with the school emblem on it. Because if you didn't, they will send your child home and say that your child is improperly dressed. because, oh no, they haven't got the. But listen, all these things are expensive, all these things cost money. Where do they think it grows on trees?
Why are they, again, because from our standpoint here in the United States, that's what taxes are for. There are taxes that are paid by the public to support these schools. And why would we then turn around and have to pay more money, which we do? We support the school and the teacher. We support her buying materials. They never have enough money for materials for the classroom. So I can understand that. But then saying, hey, you need to pay another $500 for your son to attend this school, that is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, but and why though? Why? Because they are cutting the funding so much. Headmasters and headmistresses are saying, "Oh my God, we're gonna have to find ways to bring in more money, and no little cake sale ain't gonna do it."
Right.
We have to really do this on a regular basis, i.e. so the best way we can think of is to start asking the parents to start paying more money. But where are they supposed to get this money from when they're struggling to get a job and keep a roof over their head and keep food in their gut? Kids are going to school now hungry. I know what that's like because I went to school hungry at times. Okay, we sat in the dark at times because they kept cutting off the electric. We had rats. We had a massive hole in the ceiling. I know what that's like. I grew up like that. So I don't want to... This is why I look around now and I think, really? It's just history repeating itself. And I'm sorry to say it, but as they say, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. There is no middle ground. And then it becomes even more stressful trying to survive and trying to live. And then they're moaning about, there's not enough money for adult social care. Okay, well, I've got a lot on my mind today, It's been a minute, people. You have to bear with me. Okay, I've just been having all this stuff building. And I was like, okay, I'm sharing. And today is a true share Saturday. I'm just like, okay, we are on it. Let's go. Link 21, Carol, I need to stress this because, you see, if you can't even afford to feed your kid for them to be able to concentrate, to go to school and get an education, okay, are they supposed to become the next generation that's going to save us in more ways than one? Because the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, has said computer coding, should be a second language for primary school kids. Hello. Yeah, we know that because technology is how the world is going to be more and more involved going forward, right? But I'm sorry. If your child can't concentrate or if your child can't go to school in the end because they end up getting priced out because the headmistresses and such have to start charging for your child to come because there's no funding. Whatever parent says, like, I haven't got 500-600 quid. It's going to get to the point where, again, education becomes for the elite. And it's already getting to the point where if you can't afford a house in the so-called catchment area of where the school is, you ain't getting a place in the school where you want your child to go. School places are diminishing. I mean, I'm not even a parent and I've seen all these things. So imagine the stress that parents are going through trying to find a place for their child to go to school. And remember, you don't want to send your child tail over the other side of the city, do you? If you live here, you don't want to send your child on a 1 hour, 2 hour bus or whatever ride for them to get to school there and back 2 hours, 4 hours a day. Who wants to do that? Because especially in the winter when it gets dark early, you don't want your child having to take 2 hours plus to get home.
Well, and the other part about that is if we as parents had the money to pay for them to go to private school, and it was a better school. So let me start off by saying that because I believe the schools that my sons have attended have been great schools that are public schools, but if I have an extra 500 and I'm in a bad neighborhood, why wouldn't you think I would put my child in private school? Why would I pay for him to be in a school that was not good?
This is it. This is the thing, though. These are all the layers, isn't it? Is the school a good school? Is my child going to get a good education? That's number one. But then they're going to pile on, okay, well, the funding's being cut by the government, whether it's a good school or not, doesn't matter. The funding's being cut. Let's just get to that bit. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have to ask the parents now, okay, you lot need to chip in. Hello, with what? So what they're going to start saying to parents who can't afford it? Oh, sorry. Sorry, well, maybe little Johnny ain't going to be able to come in no more. No, because my child needs to get an education, okay? Because especially if you want them to be the next computer whizzes and government spies and so on and so forth. How are they supposed to learn all these skills? How are they supposed to learn languages and all these other things? They're not going to get to do it, kind of thing. It's expensive.
Well, we've already kicked in by paying our taxes for
Well, no, that's the thing though,
different
Chaos,
things.
because if you're being chased for that because you're struggling to pay it, then what?
But I'm saying, I mean, just
so there's
everyday
no money in the
things.
tax pot because people are struggling because of the economy. You can't afford to send your kid to school because you don't have the